2000 was the year President Daniel Arap Moi gave in to pressure to have a more inclusive process for reviewing the country's constitution. The previous year had ended with a standoff between the Parliamentary Review Committee, chaired by National Democratic Party leader Raila Odinga, and the Ufungamano Initiative Group that brought together church and civil society leaders, as well as many opposition MPs led by Mwai Kibaki, official leader of the opposition in Parliament. Odinga's Parliamentary Select Committee insisted that Parliament be the only body that should review the Constitution, whilst the Ufungamano group wanted the process to include all major stakeholders, particularly the church and civil society. During the first few months of 2000, the rift between the two groups would widen. The Parliamentary Select Committee's recommendations, Raila tabled in Parliament on April 6th, only exacerbated matters. They called for the enactment of a law setting up a 15-person commission to review the country's constitution. Members of the commission would be chosen by Parliament, but the chairman would be appointed from among them by the President, who would, in addition, exercise wide-ranging powers over the constitutional review process. In protest, Democratic Party leader Mwai Kibaki and Ford Kenya's Kijana Wamalwa led their respective party colleagues in Parliament in a walkout rather than debate the Raila Odinga Committee's recommendations. In their absence, Parliament, with KANU and NDP members in an overwhelming majority, adopted the recommendations. The resultant legislation would be called the Constitution of Kenya Review Act. There followed months of increasingly acrimonious exchanges between the parliamentary and Ufungamano groups over the issue of reforms. In November, at the height of these exchanges, Moi appointed Professor Yashpal Gai as chairman of the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission. Gai was a professor of constitutional law. Most important, he had experience in constitution making, having chaired a committee that drew up the Constitution of Fiji. Politically, he leaned to the left, which gave him some credibility not only amongst the parliamentary opposition, but also amongst the more radical members of civil society, such as James Orengo, who were major players in the Ufungamano group. Gai impressed many when he declined to be sworn into his new job right away, choosing instead to try to bring the parliamentary and Ufungamano groups together. This he managed to do by the end of January the following year. By that time, Moi was ready to respond positively to Raila Odinga's earlier call for a KANU-NDP coalition government. Soon after Jamhuri Day, Moi went even one better than Raila Odinga's idea of a coalition. He suggested a complete merger of their two parties. But several KANU leaders took exception to a KANU-NDP merger. On December 27th, a number of them, including Cabinet Ministers Simeon Nyochai and Kipkalia Kones, were suspended from the ruling party. The two would later be sacked from the cabinet. In business, 2000 was the year mobile phone communication in Kenya really took off, after the British company Vodafone bought 40% of the shares of Safaricom, the first mobile phone company in Kenya that was previously a wholly owned subsidiary of Telkom Kenya. In sports, 2000 was the year Noah Ng'weno won gold in the men's 1500 meters race and Ruben Koskei gold in Kenya's specialty long-distance race, the 3000 meters steeplechase, at the Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia. In Boston, Elijah Lagat won the men's marathon, while Catherine Dereba won the women's marathon. That year, Tegla Larupe also won the London women's marathon. In the year 2000, Kenyans said farewell to former editor of Baraza newspaper and LegCo member Francis Hamisi. Malindi South MP Bobby Tuva, South Mugirango MP Enoch Magara, who died in a road accident, and Cabinet Minister and Kapenguria MP Francis Lotodo.